recording again. It's funny on, I always wait for something to say that it's recording because GoToMeeting, which New Mexico Main Street uses all the time, says, has a little robotic voice that says, the meeting is now in record mode. And I always forget that that's not this one. So I keep waiting for it. So I'm going to talk a little bit for a second here. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is what I was thinking of doing today for a number of reasons. One, I really like the contrast. I wanted to sort of talk a little bit about contrast and the importance of contrast in your work. And so there's nothing but contrast in this. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about composition. So in and of itself, this is, not a bad scene. It's not a bad little photo. And if it was just a photo, I'd say, hey, that's great.
Thank you.
But I feel like there's some things we could do as painters to improve it. One of them is this, the road's just kind of straight and then it turns. And that's not that interesting. The other is that this tree, kind of, because it's so dark, it pulls my, it pulls my eye up out of here because it's not, I'm just kind of cruising along and following these shadows, and then I go up here, and this little bit of light actually blocks, which usually it's the other way around, but it kind of stops my eye, and I'm following this dark up here, and then it just leads me out of so I had this idea, and I'm going to go to my sketch now, and this is, obviously this was not a really detailed sketch because I was really trying to work out some compositional things, but I thought it might be interesting to make that tree a little bit shorter, possibly add a second one over here, really play up these trunks of whatever this little thing is. Let's see, there are some trunks here, and they're kind of weird, but I didn't really want them out in the road. There's one right here, or actually, I think when I zoomed in on that, that's like a mile marker reflector thingy-majigger or something. But there is this weird curved trunk here, and then there's some other little ones sticking off the side of the road. So I wanted to kind of pull those in a little bit to further give me something to kind of curve me around. And then I have like this dark back here that I'm hoping pulls our eyes back down into the painting. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of, darker bits around the edge here too. And then I could see just like a hint of a couple of pine trees. So I threw in another, even though, I'll go back to this, I can see there's one right in there, some sort of pine tree. So I threw that kind of tree in there as well. And it may work out that as we progress in the painting, I may add, well, I know I'm going to definitely add some lifting of trunks so that we can see more of, if I zoom in, it's pretty, there's a trunk there, there's one here, there's this one, which is actually not hard to see, there's that one, there's one in there and there. So there's all these trunks. Now, this straight big one right up in the middle, I can't remember if I drew it and then was like, let's see. I kind of moved it over here. I liked it, but I thought, man, that's just right there in the middle. And I don't really care for that. I also don't really, I need to work out this road a little bit better. I want it to look like it's curving more. So I feel like I need to bring this out a little bit more here. And then maybe get I think this just needs to be worked out a little bit better. So it really looks like it's curving. And maybe right in here add a wee bit of a curve back in instead of coming straight out. So I think that'll help that composition out a little bit. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I have the combination of the two there, which I have not drawn this on my paper yet, so I need to do that. And what I thought I'd do is get off of this view and let you guys maybe watch. Hopefully it'll be visible enough. You can watch me draw mine out. And, no matter what, I think that might be, I'm hoping that's helpful, since most of you, and if you don't have, if you have yours or don't have yours drawn out yet, then you can also use that time to work on yours. Hopefully everybody has the image I sent and can look at it. Did everybody get that, or have an opportunity to, or do you need me to leave that up instead of you guys watching me draw? I guess that's really what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, I'm rather you leave it up because I don't remember getting that image.
Oh, it was attached to the email, but that's okay. I can leave the image up. Do you want the combination, or would you rather have just the big photo?
Oh, I'd rather have the big photo personally.
Okay. All right, that'll work. So we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and start my sketch, and then you guys can finish up your sketches, or your drawing on your watercolor paper, and then we'll get cracking. And maybe by then Janie will have joined or gotten back to me on whether or not she's gonna make it, and all that good stuff. So. Or maybe, she's just not able to make it. So, all righty. So. Oh, and we're also missing Jeannie. That's who else we're missing. Not on the other. I wonder if I can log into two. No, that'll screw it. Let's see if I can. That's the well, it's worse. As soon as I get these weird computer issues fixed, I start uploading videos.
Ow, that's my foot. No talking.
Let's see. I'm still on share. Oh, I didn't share the screen. Sorry, Richard. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I found it in my tablet, so.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want me to share the screen anyway?
If you want to.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. One of these days, we'll get this thing right. Maybe 10 years from now. It may be after the quarantine or the COVID thing is over. Very last class, it'll be we do virtually. Sorry about that. If I do something like that next any time, feel free to just yell at me.
You know, I'm not sure what to draw.
I'm just real quick. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but let me. I'm going to stop the share, and we'll go to Spotlight Video. Can you kind of see what I've done? So it's real minimal. In fact, that's a weird line that I don't know why it's there. You know, I just have. Let me see if I can't show you here. I'll zoom in a little bit. You know, it's just minimal stuff. I'm just really barely sketching in a few tree trunks. There's really not a lot to draw. It's going to be mostly down and then creating shapes with contrasting colors. So there's not a lot to draw. You just need to kind of lay out your basic shapes. You know, so you have your road. I know that I want a couple little pine trees here. You know, these trees, you know, other kind of blobby shapes and these vertical shapes in here that are going to help.
You know what's funny? Being a southpaw, I drew my curve the opposite way of what you drew. I didn't even realize it. I'm like, oh, he's got the big curve on the other side, and I've got the big curve on the right side, and you have it on the left.
That is okay.
I'm like, oops, nothing I can do about it now.
Didn't want to focus there for a second. So I'll go back to this view real quick. So we can kind of finish this. You know, my goal is to kind of have these shadows bring us around up through here. This dark kind of brings us over, and then there'll be these kind of trunks that kind of help, hopefully help bring us down. I'm going to have a little, like that little.
Can you highlight that?
Oh, I forgot I had the thing on share. So my hope is, like, let me just, my hope is that by, you know, that these well, get the right tool, guy. There you go. That still don't have it. Grab it. Oh. Ugh. Let's try that one more time. There we go. That these shadows here on the ground will pull you through. Then I've got this tree here, but I'm actually drawing two. Let me switch colors here. I'm actually drawing a tree kind of here, and then another one I've got over here, and not making them that tall because I don't want to shoot everybody out. So these trees will be here and kind of come around, and then we'll pick up. I've accentuated or exaggerated this dark shape up here in mine, so it's going to be bigger. So it'll help pull people down into this. And then I have angled. I have these tree trunks kind of coming in at different angles to, well, not quite that steep. Wow. You know, kind of coming in like so to help pull you back down in this direction. Does that make sense? Is that what you wanted me to do?
Yeah, move your mouse a little. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, so I have this, see this arrow? So essentially you're gonna move around. Let me use a darker color here. You're gonna move around this direction with the shadows. You know, you're gonna come in on the road, but it's gonna kind of move you in this way. These trees will move you up. Let me get back to an actual. These trees will, you know, move you up this way. Then you'll come over here, and pick up this dark that I've exaggerated, and then move back down that direction. And these trunks will pull you back down in there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking this should do. We'll see if it works that way. But that's the way I'm thinking this should work.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully it works that way. If it doesn't, well, you know, that's all right. I'll change your plan.
Could you go back to your pencil drawing for just a sec?
I sure can.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Is there a trick to getting other colors out of your palette? Like my yellow has a green cast to it.
So does mine.
Okay.
You can sometimes scrape out the bit of offending green or whatever. But I found that a lot of times just I sort of have to live with what I've got. Or I'll add fresh paint on top, which is what I did today.
Oh, okay.
I added a little fresh lemon yellow on top,
Mm-hmm.
which I just made a mess out of.
Well, I was trying to get it out with a brush, and it didn't quite work.
Yeah, sometimes you can scrape it out with a palette knife if it's soft enough. But a lot of times it's just sort of stuck that way. And the easiest way is once you kind of get down to where you're happy or less sad about wasting the rest of the paint in the well, is to completely scrape it out, like completely chip out the stuff and start fresh. But I'm at that point where I want to waste that paint.
Well, I know that's kind of me. I think, oh, this is just, I don't want to waste it. It's a little bit, but then it definitely has a tint.
Yeah,
to it.
mine does too. And it's just either live with it or you, like me, I just added a little fresh yellow on top. I cannot get this really.
I can see an alien in your photograph.
There's an alien in there.
Yeah. Just to the left of that aspen tree that's closest to the road. Right there, right there.
Oh yeah, that does kind of look like an alien.
And a guy above him too.
Yeah. Being watched. All right. Does everybody feel comfortable with where their drawing's at?
Yes.
Okay. I will back to that. Is that the yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see that very well. I think it's all right.
Michael?
Yeah.
Do you want us to mask anything off?
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm gonna mask off a few little some of these trunks. So that's what I'll show you what I'm gonna do, and you guys can, if you want to do the same. So I think I can get by with just this tape here. Both of these trunks. So I'm gonna tape off these two trunks that are right there. What I'm going to do is just kind of start it, but I'm just going to kind of tear the bottom. So yeah, so I have kind of a jagged edge there, and then I can kind of go in and trim these little bits out. Real quick, and then this bit, I'm just going to move up. This bit, because I have a little bit of a where I have some leaves and stuff going over one of the trunks. Same thing here. That bit, and then I'll probably take off that, maybe one of these, a couple of these guys over here. But for the most part, the rest of it's going to be lifted and or darker on top of lighter paint. So. It doesn't have to be super exact. Wherever they end up is where they'll end up. So that's fine with me too. You know, I'm not too concerned with. Let's see. This I got a bit of tree here that I want to. It's already there. And I just want to make sure this is pushed down really good. Did make a few little marks in my paper that'll show up as texture. That was more accidental than anything. Got one there. And then got three kind of little trunks that I maybe just the two. I don't know. I've got this, and it's really just one tree, but it's got these kind of dual trunks. And made that too long. Cut that off ragged. That's funny. I ripped the wrong way. That's all right. I can make it work. And I think just these couple little ones right up here. The last ones that I did. And you can see it's just a few little lines. Once, you know, right now it doesn't look like a whole lot of trees, but once we start lifting some of those out in the background, it'll really bring this together, I think. those I think are the only ones that I'm gonna. I don't know if you guys can see that real well. That down in there, I've got these couple little bits there. This thing here, and then these few right up here in the front, including there's a little bit that I've got up there. It's a little harder to see. Those are the only ones I'm gonna keep real white. I mean, eventually they'll come in, you know, with a light shade of something else, but I want to keep them kind of clean at the moment. So that is I don't care for. So that's all I'm going to do though. I can always, like, even though I'm cutting this tape off, the reason I'm cutting it is because it's really kind of weird and didn't follow the cut I had made. But even if I hadn't caught that, you can always go back in and change that shape a little bit. You don't have to live with what happens underneath the tape. So, with that, let's put some paint on the paper. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
No? All right. Let these a little bit. Some of those are dried out. So, because we have this real bright kind of clean yellow, I did add a little bit of clean yellow paint to my permanent yellow lemon because I want to start off with a pretty bright yellow, so I added a little bit. You can kind of see that here. There we go. It's easier to pull it. You can see I've added a little bit of fresh paint down there. It's still got a little bit of green tint down in the water there, and you can see a lot of it right there. But it won't be too bad because I am going to end up throwing in a little green into this anyway. Clean off a section of my palette. So I'm going to start off with this permanent yellow deep. And because this paint is pretty soft, I mean, you can see I just picked up a whole buttload. I want to be fairly cautious with that, grabbing that. And I want to make sure that I don't overload my brush with paint. I want mostly water. So let's put this back in there. So I've got a nice little puddle. I mean, there's a fair amount of paint in it as well, but it's really, really watery, and that's what I want. And I'm just going to go in and start laying in some light colors. I know my sunlight, you know, my light source is coming from this direction, so it's moving from left to right. So I know which sides of bits I need to maintain that light, but I want pretty good lights throughout, and so it's going to seem like I'm covering a lot more than maybe necessary at first. So I'm going to come in and just kind of lay in some light. I know this section is going to be really light here. Lay down into here as well. Got some more of that. I know that I'm going to want more light here. And I'm not going to worry too much about these pine trees. They're going to be fairly dark, so so they'll be able to cover up anything where, you know, maybe I paint over the shape a little bit or whatever. So don't worry about those too much because they will be quite a bit darker on top of everything else. I need to add a little more water. It's getting a little dry on me, I can tell. I've got fans going and then I'm going to switch to a little, oh, I guess I added a little bit of that too. I'm going to switch to a little permanent yellow deep as well, just to kind of add a little bit of contrast to that. Not a lot. I don't need, you know, I'm not going super dark. I just want a little bit of change in hue and color. Bring that down in there. And just really keeping the brush strokes light and abstract. I'm not trying to fill in the exact shape that I drew on there. So I'm keeping it fairly, these strokes just kind of, I'm using the side of my brush a lot. Let's see, I actually need a little bit of, I know this is going to end up being a bit of a darker orangey bush here, but I'm going to bring some of this lemon yellow in here as well, just to help it pop. It'll be underneath that orange later, but I'll have that kind of base color down here. That real bright yellow. Same with up here. Just kind of add that. More lemon yellow, and then come back with a little permanent yellow deep. Dry up on these, so let me add a little more water. So I'm using a round brush and a fairly large one. I'm using my number 10, but I'm using the side of it more than anything. If I feel like I need to get into a smaller space, then I can switch to using the very tip of it. But like this, where I feel like I maybe want a little bit more shape, or you know, I want to kind of follow along a little bit. I don't need to worry about too much. Come back in. Excuse me.
Good.
Permanent yellow deep back down in here, just to sort of set the tone. That down a little bit more. Down in there. So there's kind of my first pass at those trees, and then I'll come over here and I'll do something similar. So look back to the lemon yellow, good little puddle of that, and let's see, I'm going to put some kind of up in this area. Coming down in here. get over here, I'm going to kind of switch to a little bit darker, this darker orange, you know, the permanent yellow deep. But I just want to get some of these little areas of highlight thrown in. More water. Just where I want some of this to kind of have that brighter bit of contrast against whatever. Now I'm going to switch back to the permanent yellow over here. And at some point I may even get a little bit more orange. This is kind of where that shadow is going to come down in there. But I want to keep my options open. Paint a little, you know, I'm going to keep that light right there, even though I may have that shadow come down in there more. However I want to do that. I think down here is going to be a little bit more light, kind of. Just switching off between the point and the, you know, the edge of my brush. So if my finger's the paper, I'm kind of doing that with it a lot, and then I'll lift it up and get a little bit of dot kind of there, and then go back to moving it around on the side like that. And maybe some of that will stay white, be a super bright highlight. So I'll leave that kind of up in the air there. Let's see, I'm gonna bring this permanent yellow deep kind of up into here. At some point it'll be a little bit different thing. And before it gets too dry, I also want to drop in a little permanent green number 1, lightest green that I have. So whatever's the lightest green, and if you need to, you can always mix a little permanent yellow lemon, or, you know, lemon yellow, whatever you have to it, just to make it even lighter. But I'm going to add a few little, I'm going to just add a little bit of that green in some spots too. Really get that a little bit over here before this dries out too much. Maybe up in here. This really should have probably dropped in a little of that before it got too dry, but that's all right. I can always add more water, so even if it's not quite. Really, the key is to keep this wash pretty light, pretty watery. You don't need a whole lot of pigment. You're just kind of laying down the first wash to get some color down in there. And something I've learned, you know, I used to go pretty heavy pretty quick, and I've kind of backed off of that because I got locked into whatever that was, which was fine. I usually could pull myself out of any hole I started digging myself into. That's supposed to be white. But not all, you know, I couldn't always dig myself out of those holes that I had painted literally painted my. So I started backing off and doing more glazes, I think is the point I'm trying to make. Let's get that. So that's why my these first washes seem so light. They seem that way to me too. I think, oh gosh, light, but I want to keep that ability to keep it fresh looking and not overworked. So that's really where I'm going with this. That up in there. So I don't want to go too quickly into some of the other colors. Green up in there. Break up that chunky yellow. Here, just drop it in. Notes. Yeah, I think that's starting to come together. Anybody have any questions or concerns, problems, complaints? I'll listen to all of them. I am pulling some of this color down even lower than I probably need it, but that's only because I know that I'm going to come in with some darker darks around it, but I want some of this to peek through in some spots, so I know that. So I brought some of this down, probably a little lower than it needs to be, but that's okay. I don't like it. There we go. And like that shape that's forming there from the green. Drop in just a skosh more. In. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to stop because I can feel myself wanting to keep playing with that. And that's when things start looking overworked. I'm just going to lift a couple bits up in a few spots. So I have this kind of, yellowy, orangey, greenish wash going on. And I'm fairly happy with it. It doesn't have to, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I've got some pretty sharp little edges and globby looking things down in here. And that's okay, because that just adds to that leafy texture. All right. So I'm going to dry this real quick. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments, concerns?
Just trying to keep up.
Okay, am I going too fast? Because I can wait a little bit, give everybody a chance
If
to.
the others need some more time, that'd be fine, but if I'm the only one, then just keep going.
Anybody else need a little more time?
I do.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll kind of hang tight for a minute. Not a problem. Thought I'd kill two birds with one stone, and while I was waiting on you guys, I'd order some paint. Like cobalt blue, which I keep forgetting to.
All right.
All right, their cart is not working right. I don't. Forget it. Can't do it. Joe's making me mad. Is everybody caught? Or feel like they're close enough? I'm going to take your silence as a yes. Hey. We're going to continue some of this lighter oranges and reds and greens. We're going to get a little more grass-like, even though in our source photo, there's also a lot of trees, little short, tiny trees and things down in here. I'm going to treat this more like tall, grassy stuff next to the road. But again, we're going to be using similar colors, although I'm going to throw in a few more darker oranges and reds and stuff. So I'm going to start with that permanent yellow lemon, the lemon yellow. Just kind of pull that in here, and then some permanent yellow heat. Is that kind of medium yellow, kind of in a few spots, maybe pull in some of this orange, permanent yellow orange. You know, cadmium orange is a good similar color. But any kind of orange that you have, maybe even a little, I can bring in a little opera, some spots. I think maybe a little more. Didn't quite have enough on my brush. Pull that up in here just to get some variation in this wash. Maybe back to the permanent yellow paint. Some of this will get covered up by shadow and things like that, but for now, we're just gonna stick that in maybe a little yellow deep right in here. And some of that permanent yellow orange. Well, just kind of moving back and forth on either side of the road. Getting a weird opera blob there. Move back to some opera. We're over here. If I can pick some up. There we go. Over here, a little opera. Again, I don't want to get too dark with the color. I'm trying to keep this a really watery wash. I think I'll add a little green. I'm going to come in actually and add a little bit of peacock blue just to kind of break up some of this. Far enough. There we go. And give it kind of a sagey kind of look. Yellow back into that peacock blue because I thought I had paint there and I did not. So, and this is just brushing stuff on the side of that road. It's going to help define that road. I can even start sculpturing the side of this sort of foreground bush a little bit just by adding a little bit darker orange right there. That lemon yellow. So I can add some shape to that. Careful not to completely overwork it. I may add just a hint of quinacridone magenta down in here just to give it, you know, those grasses that kind of turn. I've got a bit of that in my flower bed. It's a grass that kind of turns red and it starts, all kind of starts kicking in. Not that it's fall yet, it's still summer. And then down in here, I'm just going to kind of merge the two. I want that a fairly soft line right there. Over here, I don't mind it being a hard line, but back in here, I kind of want to soften that up just a bit. I'll add a little of that quinacridone magenta over in here as well. Just some shapes. And I know it seems like there's a lot of light in here, and when we look at the photo, there's a lot of dark where I'm putting this light, but there's a lot of light that peeks through in some little spots. So I want that there to peek through. And I don't know exactly where that's going to end up being. So I'm just kind of doing this nice little first wash of this kind of brushy stuff. A little bit more of this.
Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I mean, with painting, everything else you can't comment on. I put my yellow down, and then I put my permanent yellow deep down, and it bleeds up into the yellow, and
Yeah.
you know, I think it looks good, but then when I'll work on another part and I come back and it's all bled together. How am I know it's a water thing, but what am I doing wrong?
Well, mine does that too. It doesn't always dry the way we think it's gonna. I don't know that you're necessarily doing anything wrong.
Oh, okay.
Part of it could be that
Kind of,
it's a little too wet.
well, yeah, I'm having a hard this semester with my water control. Usually too bright, too dry, but it seems like now I'm the opposite. I'm putting down too much water.
Huh.
And I'm trying to, I guess maybe I need to dry in between.
I will tend to, so if I'll show you, I tend, well, like none of this is dry yet. Well, parts of it have dried, but it's still, I mean, I still got a fair amount of water in there. The only thing that I'm doing is sometimes I'll dab my brush off and come back in and pick them up in some spots. Oops, I didn't show you that. I showed you dab my brush, but I'll pick up a little of the water in some spots so that when I add something else, it'll make an interesting shape. But even if it doesn't make an interesting shape, you can come back later and kind of add texture to it later. So even if it doesn't as interesting as I thought it was going to be at first, don't sweat too much, but there are some spots where there's a little bit too much water, and just get your brush, keep a towel next to your thing and just kind of, you don't even have to squeeze it out. I just kind of back and forth like that, and I'll come over and pick up a little brush.
Well, I have been picking up some stuff with it, but I just have a lot of bleeds.
Yeah. Now I did make sure that this, section that I painted up here was 100% dry because I knew I was going to be coming in. Sorry, I have this too close. This area was 100% dry because I knew I was going to be coming in here and starting this shape here. With a little bit of this orange and whatever, maybe I'll add a little more. And this is
I'll put that texture down, texture like you're doing, and then I look at it and it's all blended.
well.
I've been using my rag to wipe off, but I just thought something different.
Well,
I picked up a bad habit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that you have, but this section I let dry pretty good. Back in and added just a skosh more of this opera. And like even over here, it's still damp. Like if I drop that in, you can see it's gonna kind of run a little bit, but it's dry enough where I know it's not gonna just totally just disperse. So the shininess is almost gone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hopefully that's helpful. And not a bunch of gibberish.
Hey, Michael,
Yes, sir.
I have a comment to make here.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't think bleeding really all that bad. I mean, I took my yellows, my grass, and then I put the quinacridone red and, you know, the thin wash of that, and it bled into the yellow, but gave it more of a 3D effect than anything else.
Right. And that's really what we're going for, is trying to get that texture that makes it look like you have some depth, 3 dimension to it. So I think you're probably doing all right.
I doubt that.
I bet you're doing. Yeah, if you're getting that, then that's kind of the goal we're going for. I don't always get it, but sometimes I do. There we can kind of see our first go at this kind of brushy stuff. Even while this is still a little damp, I could come in with my flat brush and start adding a little bit of this road. And I'm going to use, to begin with, I'm just going to use a little, I'm going to clean part of my palette off. Do that really quick. I'm going to use get this to pick up some quinacridone gold to begin with. And again, this is just going to be kind of a light earthy tone wash. Very watery, I should say, not really. I mean, light, yes, but watery. So I'm just going to kind of come in with my, and you can see it's very similar. So at first you'll be like, well, what, not even doing anything different. So I've kind of added a few little strokes in the shape of using the flat edge and kind of the chisel edge in the shape of that road. And then I can come in with maybe a darker, redder brown. Maybe I can use a little brown matter. That's kind of got a reddish brown. And I want to make sure that if you don't have brown matter, just burnt sienna would be good. Something like that. And I can come in and add a little bit of this.
What color did you start with on the road?
I was using quinacridone gold, but if you don't have quinacridone gold and you have what is it, yellow ochre, it's very similar. I think I am going to use a little as well. There, I've got a little burnt sienna in there. And really, I'm just kind of adding in the first little hint of this road. We're gonna work on it a little bit more, but I kind of want to get this first little bit in there. And I am going to add a little peacock blue in there as well, because I know I'm going to be picking up some shadows here in a little bit, or later in the painting. So I'm going to add a little bit of that just so I have it in there to pick up later. So you can see this is really pretty loose. I'm not getting real tight on this yet. A little bit of darker color right there where the peacock blue kind of mixed with the burnt sienna. And then I may come in with a little opera as well, just to add a hint of other kind of tones. So that's just a real quick. And then I can come back in and pick up some spots where I think maybe the paint is a little too much. So don't expect it to look like a road yet, because it's really just a Y. I mean, as we add other things, we'll end up end up quite a like a road. And while it's still a little wet, I'm going to add a few of these kind of rut shapes with the chisel part of my and a little burnt sienna. They'll and don't worry, they'll bleed out. They're not going to. So if yours are bleeding out after doing that, don't stress, because that's going to happen. Yeah, it sounds like I've had an accident or something. Yeah. So just kind of a hint of that color that's going to go down first for the road. Now, if this is a little too wet still, you might dry it before doing the road, but mine had dried quite a bit. I mean, it's still damp. I can feel the coolness. Heck, I even apparently still have, I flipped water up there too. So I can feel that's damp, but it's not super wet. And I don't really want a sharp line anyway, so if it runs a little bit, or at least I don't really at this point want a particularly sharp line. I don't mind a little bit of a sharp line, but so I'm going to dry this real quick. And you can see as I'm drying it, it's drying quite a bit lighter than it even looked when it was wet. A little moist. And really, the only difference between this section of the painting and this is that I was using more flat kind of strokes with my flat brush versus and more directional stuff. I was kind of working my way from up here to down here and over here with that color. Whereas up here, I was, it's almost at least very similar colors, if not the same colors. I was more using the tip and the edge of my round brush to kind of get that worked in there. Particularly here, I was using the tip of the brush to kind of start sculpting that tree a little bit. So I'll kind of hang back a minute and let you guys kind of catch up if you need a little bit more time. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Tongue tied. I think that cat's eating my jade tree.
It doesn't look like it anymore. Cloud might be worse.
Okay. Now I think I'm going to start kind of looking at, I'm not going to go too dark yet. I want to stay fairly mid-tone right now on a lot of this stuff. Some of it will get fairly dark. I'm going to, but I'm going to kind of go with the mid-tones. And I think I'm going to use, well, I know I'm going to use my round brush right now. I'm going to kind of start, I mean, you can start, Melanie, like if you're, since you're left-handed, you can start the other way and work, work the opposite direction if you want. But I'm going to start putting in some of these darker areas. And so for that, I'm going to start out with yellow. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna start out with kind of a middle dark, and use this quinacridone. What the heck is it called? Quinacridone Violet, which is probably a little hard to see, but it's that color. It looks a lot darker than I can't really. Looks a lot darker than it is. So I'm going to use that. Another spot on the palette. I may actually have to break down and clean part of my palette. I'll use dark colors over here on this one. There we go. That's really clean. I'm going to start with this quinacridone violet. And then I'll move into some slightly darker versions of violet and greens. I'll be using some Hooker's green, mixed with royal blue. I'll probably be using some royal blue by itself, maybe some indigo. Eventually indigo, but probably not quite yet. So I'm going to start with this quinacridone violet and just kind of start to think about some of these shapes that I have in here. Not all of them, but I'm going to come in, maybe kind of sketch, sculpt the edge of some of these leafy areas. And I need to be careful that if I come up to like this tree trunk that I know I'm going to save, I need to paint that violet past it so it doesn't stop and then start another color, because then I'd have violet and a green, and then so I need to make sure that it kind of goes through everywhere. And again, this is a lot of water. It looks like I'm putting a lot of dark color down, but I'm not really. It's mostly pretty watery. And I can even sculpt some of this top side of this underbrush stuff. I think I'm going to switch to a little royal blue just in here. Maybe I'll kind of bring that over in here too. And don't worry about a lot of detail. We're just kind of, this is the beginning of our kind of dark area. I'm going to go ahead and kind of paint over where this pine tree is going to go, mainly because I'm going to bring that down in, and then it's going to kind of get lost in the dark down here. At least that's my goal. So we'll see what happens. Maybe down in here, we'll switch to a little of this Hooker's green. Bring that down like so. And then I'm just kind of like when we painted that ruin last week. I'm sculpting the top of what I want this stuff to look like. So some of it's kind of bushy looking, some of it's kind of grass looking. And then as I get up into this pine tree, and I think what I'm going to actually do here is go ahead and do that pine tree. So I'm going to switch to a smaller brush so I can get a nice little point. And I'm going to come in with a little quinacridone violet mixed with royal blue to start that off. And just kind of pull that in. The tip of my brush to kind of make this tree shape. And if it's not super dark, it doesn't need to be. I'm going to switch over to the Hooker's green. Maybe grab a little blue in there as well. And I do like how when these run together, I'm going to add a little bit more water so that it runs a bit better. And then I'm going to add just a skosh of opera to the top of this, just so maybe there's a wee bit of a highlight up there. It may or may not end up staying. It may get covered up later or something, but I'm going to plop that down in there as well and try and get that to run a little bit more. And then I'll continue on, maybe royal blue. Actually, I think I'm going to move into a little bit of indigo just to help this tree out a little bit. Doesn't have to be super dark yet. And then as I get down into here, I'll just kind of let it wash into whatever else I've got going on there. So it'll end up having kind of a lost side or end. It's drying a little dark, so I want to soften that maybe just a skosh. I don't really mind that too much. It's over here on the edge of the paper, though, and so back to that. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the quinacridone violet, just the plain quinacridone, and I need to go back to my bigger brush. Back to the quinacridone violet. Back over to here. Maybe we'll just put some of that up. Pull it along. Dots up in dark is sticking through that leafy foliage. Just plop in some. Do a little bit of that here just to help. That shape that I wasn't looking at. And again, this is not the final wash we're going to do of this dark. We're going to have to go a fair bit darker in some spots. I'm going to add just a little bit of this purple, this darker purple now. That's the quinacridone violet mixed with royal blue. Just kind of working my way across.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
can I get caught up? I'm behind.
Oh, yeah. You want me to kind of wait for you?
Well, I kind of missed the tree.
This bit?
Yeah, so I need to paint that in.
Well, you can wait on it. I'm going to do another one so you can watch me do another couple over here and just kind of leave that, you know, come in here and then soften the top a little bit. Or I can wait for you. It's not,
Okay.
I can wait if you want.
It depends. How's everybody else doing?
Anybody else need me to wait for him?
A little bit, yeah. I'm trying to catch up too.
I can soften this edge. You see, I've already kind of picked it up, so it's not super dark yet. And even if it dries with a weird line or something, that area is going to be fairly intensely dark when we're done. Actually, a little more over there, but it won't matter. So, yeah, I can wait. No problem. Before that dries, though, I am going to add just a wee bit of peacock blue to my pine tree. Just want to add that, just to brighten that section up just a bit right there. That to come down. So that's the only thing I'm going to do. And that's just for me. You guys don't have to do that at all if you don't want. You feel like I need to pull some of this blue across there. I was having the very thing I was telling you guys not to do. Yeah, I can. I'll stop here and wait, which is okay.
Michael, what was that last blue you put on the pine tree?
Put a little blue in there.
What kind of blue?
Peacock. Like the bird peacock blue. I just wanted to brighten that up just a bit. I will probably go back in and add a little bit more dark texture, broken up darks on top of that, but I wanted that little brighter blue sticking through.
Everybody's catching up. I just had plenty.
No, what I did with my paintbrush. More.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Okay, just making sure.
So I'm caught up. How's everybody else doing?
I'm too caught up.
I'm caught up.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to just kind of continue moving along here. And I was using a little bit of quinacridone violet mixed with royal blue kind of over in here. So I'm going to just keep doing that. I'm going to bring it back a little bit, but then really wet this edge over there so it blends in a little bit. Or was it? There it is. I'm in the right puddle. And just kind of bring that in. Kind of continuing to sculpt the shapes of both the underside of the trees and then the tops of this brushy stuff. So I'm going to add a little bit more dark up in there. So I just make a note that that's where I want some dark to kind of break up that tree shape. In there, bring that up into there. So, again, if I end up not liking it, I can always add more. I'm going to go back to a little bit more quinacridone violet version of this. It's still darker than just quinacridone violet, but a little more on the purpley side versus the blue, which is what I had there. I think back in here, I've just got a lot of water, so I'm just going to stick with it. I was thinking of changing to a different kind of shape, but I had a whole lot of water right there. It wasn't going to let me do it, so do it over that shape over here. And then I'm going to switch to a little Hooker's Green again. Back up in here. Let it kind of run back into that violet blue mixture. Or blue, violet blue. And just kind of, so it doesn't feel like it's one other color. I can kind of push some of it back over into there. And then I'm going to come down here. That really comes down low right in there. That's farther away. Pull that. And right now I haven't loaded any new paint in the brush. I'm just kind of letting some of the green drop in with that violet there. So back over to this side. Pull that in. And then now that I'm past that that tree a little bit, I'm going to switch over to just some royal blue. I could even actually, I think I want to put just a touch of peacock green back down in there. Yeah. Just that kind of, feel like maybe I want a little peacock blue right there. That's still really red. So I'm just going to drop in a little of that peacock blue to kind of brighten that little spot up. I don't quite know if I'm going to maybe make a slightly lighter area within this super dark that's going to end up being there. But it felt like it kind of needed it. Just by dropping that peacock blue in, it just makes makes that section pop. And then I can come back over here and start looking at these pine trees. So I'm going to switch back my number 6 brush. And start at the top of that tree. And I think I'm going to mix a little bit of Hooker's Green and Royal Blue together, like a little bit darker blue-green. Start with that up in here. So if you remember, I was mixing with this brush, but as I picked it up, I rolled it like that, so I got a nice point. So don't forget when you're mixing feet to kind of roll your brush as you pick it up, so you can get that nice little point. And I'm going to come in and plop that in there. I think I'll switch to a little peacock blue right in here, just because maybe there's a little bit of light popping through some spot. Still want that really, I want it to blend or to blur. What's the word I'm looking for? Not blend and blur. Well, yeah, kind of blur together, but right there where it switches. Bit of that peacock blue kind of coming in there. On this side, I'm going to have it overlap that yellow a little bit, so I get a little bit of the yellow through. And then I'm going to switch to just a little bit of indigo down in here. It's a little darker down here towards the bottom. Maybe there's just a little bit of light coming through right there. And then as I get down here close to this little bush, I need to start thinking about the shape of that bush. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that white around there so there's a nice little highlight on it for now. I can kind of just cover big ground with the side of my brush. Before it dries too much up there, I'm going to come in with a little hint of opera up there. So I can get that kind of highlight at the top as well. That. That kind of run down in there. Again, you can see like this one dries really quite a bit lighter than I had it, but that's okay because I can go back in and add more later on top. And just kind of pull this in. I can add some more texture. Maybe that comes out. I like that little shape, so we'll just add a little pointy bit to it. Maybe back down in here, we'll get some of that green going again. Think about this shape that I sort of left off there. Oh, I got it right there. Well, that's okay. I don't know how that happened, but that's going to be the new shape. And maybe this comes down into this kind of brushy stuff a little bit more as well. This is some area, and there's a little bit we're going on there. So basically, I'm just kind of making up the shapes that I think are interesting, except for right there where I sort of forced into. I was kind of forced into that shape. which I'm still going to have to keep some of, but if I kind of change it a little bit. Somehow I must have dropped some water right there. Pull some of this peacock blue over here. I got a weird line there that I didn't care for. Drop some of that in there so it sort of runs back down in there. And then I'm going to come over here and do just add a little bit more of that. Weird bubble up there. Some, I'm just kind of picking up spots where I felt like it needed a little help. Okay, so I'm going to do this second little tree over here now, and I'll probably start off with that same kind of green. I don't need to kind of do as many little color things, but I am going to start off with the same green, I think. Actually, I'm going to start off with that blue, just because it's kind of in line with that. It is going to be behind this tree, I think, or to the side of it anyway. So, doesn't have to be. As I get closer to this this shape again, I'm going to kind of start to think about the shape of this bush in front of it. Got it? There as well. And I think I kind of want these trees touching a little bit more, so I'm going to pull this whole bit kind of in there like so. I could even add another tree, but I don't know if I need it right yet, so I'm just going to kind of pull that across. That's a little peacock blue mixed with some green, some hooker's green, to kind of make that bridge across there. It wasn't really mixed heavily on my palette. It just kind of ran together and I picked it up and it worked because I had sort of switched to hooker's green and I had some peacock blue over here. And that can kind of be kind of liking that shape that I've got going on there. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's not too shabby. So I think what we might do is I'll let you guys kind of finish up, and then we'll look at the last half hour. We'll look at everybody's pieces. And then, how does that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Right on. Form a weird shape right there, so I'm just gonna. Not super happy with that shape that happened there, but that's okay. That can be fixed later. Overall, I'm fairly happy with this kind of shape that I've got going on here. And once I think I add that in and get some more of this stuff broken up with darks, it's really going to start coming together. Fingers crossed. And I think I'm just going to kind of let it dry without using the dryer, the hair dryer, just to see. I know some more. Not super happy with that, but and I know that I'm going to be pushing that quite a bit darker. All righty. Jesse, are you ready for me to look at yours?
Yes.
Okay. Let's make yours the. Let's see. Can you scoot it down a little bit? Or no? Well, yeah, that's fine. Okay.
I'm at my daughter's house in Denver, so I don't have everything just right here.
I understand.
Oh,
That's probably pretty nice. Nice little visit up there.
It is.
All right. Where did that go? There we go. All right, you can set it down there if you want. Let's see. There it is. There it is. Mark that up. Find the right thing. All right. So I think this is looking really good. And actually, like your road follows a little more closely the road that's in the photo.
Yeah, I had it drawn before you started drawing yours.
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind that. I like that. I mean, it works. It looks like a lot more distance back in there. Trying to think. The only thing, well, and it actually kind of looks like you're going uphill a little bit, whereas mine's more flat, even though in the photo I think it is going uphill a little bit more. Trying to think what I would do. I think I might see how dark this is.
Yes.
Some of that will lift back out, but I think I would see if I couldn't sharpen a few of these edges on this bush over here a little bit more by, that's a really terrible drawing that I've just done, but see how I've, and bring this down a little bit more behind that bush there. And then also look at how this is interacting with this stuff in front, just by either sculpting other bushy shapes at the bottom. I'm going to do that instead of the grass that I started out doing. But, you know, stuff like that. And then I would, instead of stopping at these trees, let's see. You have tape over those trees?
Yes.
Okay, then I won't worry about it. Later, when we've taken the tape off and you've painted that tree, what I would do is, like, after we kind of finish those tree trunks, I would come in with a few little bits of this tree in front of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing a very good job with my mouse, but you get the point. Because then that'll push this tree in front of that tree and give you a little bit more depth right there. Right now, it looks like they're almost side by side, but this is up in here, whereas this tree, even without my doodles on there, you know, you've got that one ending there, and then yours ends here. So it's a little confusing. So I think once we finish that, if you pull in, you know, just a little bit of this in front of that, that'll help that.
Yeah, I can see that already.
Yeah.
You did.
And even same like down in here, where you've got this piece of tape.
Uh-huh.
Do some of the same stuff. We'll pull this tree after we do the trunks and stuff. pull this tree over just a skosh in front of it, and it'll push that trunk back.
Okay.
But really, I think this is pretty good. You do have a wee bit of, and I don't know if I do too. Well, not, this happens to me all the time, but you have this kind of, and I'm going to draw it. You kind of have this kind of hoop and then a hoop between, so it starts looking like arches where,
Uh-huh.
so in a couple of these spots, like instead of, you might pull this dark up here a little bit more on either side of this tree to get rid of that double, you know, you had like a little arch and then it came up and made another arch. So to kind of get rid of that, come in without the, because essentially what you're doing is as you get close to a tree, you drop your dark down next to the trunk. Like here, that's really pretty good because you haven't quite done that as much. Let me just work my way back through a few of these and get rid of those arches that I drew. So basically, if you kind of pull in this purple that you've got there, right here next to the tree, and then pull it a little bit more over here, just to flatten out a little bit of that little sink around the, basically you've made kind of a little tree well.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to do all of them. Just really just that one, I think, would solve the whole problem. Like this is fine. That's fine. Just this one, because there was, like, let me undo that again, if it'll let me. Yeah. Because you had an arch here and then another one kind of right there, it was a little more noticeable. So I think just simply by filling this little bit in here, and maybe pulling it across like that. That makes sense?
Yes, yes. I see that.
I think other than that, you know, it's really coming along.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Let's see who's, oh, that's mine. Who's next? Anybody want to go next?
Well, I guess I will.
Oh, okay, there you are. Let's see, where did you go? Oh, here you are. I'll make you the, awesome. Close that real quick. Save. Oh yeah. Let me get a screenshot of that real quick. Just hold it right there. And awesome. You can set it down.
All right.
Here. Oh, disappeared behind my. There we go. Okay. I think once we get some of this dark that we were going to put up in here this will start working a little bit better. What I'm going to do is even pull some of these darks, you know, kind of the same way Jesse was having. You're getting a little bit of the, you're getting a little bit of that kind of arch right here. So maybe pull this dark up into that area next to that tree, like that. So this would all get filled in. Don't pay attention to my arch thing that I drew there. Don't do that.
Okay.
And then, so actually, let me just undo that because I forgot to create a new layer. Yeah, just kind of see where you have this where your kind of light greens and stuff sort of left off. Pull this dark all the way up into that next to your tree trunk, and then fill all that in with these purples and stuff, and then pull those purples kind of over into here. Same with up here. Maybe pull that on up there a little bit. And then I'm thinking like this could probably, you could actually pull some of this dark down a little bit more in this area. And then over in here, I didn't do that very good. Maybe something in there, and connect this dark to that tree.
Okay.
So that bottom part of that tree kind of gets lost in that. We like the sharp bit of the tree up here, but then you kind of want it to get lost in a bit of that darkness that's there. So even here where you've got kind of a line between where you didn't, it looks like, you kind of painted around that. Go ahead and merge those two in that area too.
Okay.
And then I would go ahead and continue this dark over here.
Okay.
And then maybe even a little bit of dark back in. This is terrible drawing with a mouse, so don't draw these shapes. But, pull in a little bit kind of in here as well to kind of pull that through, so you get kind of it'll help flatten that a wee bit. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. Sometimes I'm just not working. But yeah, you can kind of fill that in with dark, and then some of this here as well. Yeah, but I think it's looking pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this could actually you could actually even put some of this. Well, maybe not like that. Maybe just a wee bit of this up in that space. Like part of this tree's maybe down a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Same with this, kind of pick up this straight line. Maybe pull some of that up into there too. But yeah.
Okay.
Terrible drawing.
Stick it in here. Trisket.
That's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I will.
right.
Oh, I guess I had to do my video, huh?
Yeah, you gotta
I turned it off because I had to wear my glasses and I was doing this.
Oh, okay.
I have a problem, and I'll show you. Well, one, my trees are all bled together. I've had bleeding problems, but I put my 2 pine trees too high, and now I'm getting towards the bottom, and I went, oh dear, I don't know what to do.
Okay, hold it up just yeah, there you go, right about there-ish. You can even drop it just a skosh. Oh, let me, wait a minute. Can't, okay, keep hanging, keep holding it right there. I've gotta do a multiple screen, kind of keep everything straight here. All right, just a second, capture. All right, good, you can set it down. And we'll go back to share. All right, is that the one? That's it.
Wow, I didn't know I did a tattoo on a
Right.
lady.
Yeah, that's some video that's in the home page or the home screen of Photoshop. Okay, so here I actually I might think about. So I know you're asking about these trees over here, right?
Right.
But this one, I would actually pull it up into this area. Boy,
Oh, okay.
I would make it taller. So
Okay.
pull it up into, into like there.
Okay.
Just because all of this is almost pretty even.
Oh, okay.
So that'll break that up a little bit. And then what I would do is bring this dark in. Do you have some tree trunks or something taped off here, or?
No, I don't.
Well, don't worry about it. Just bring this dark in, kind of in here, and then I would go ahead and do dark all the way through there, and kind of sculpt the top of this stuff.
Okay.
That is funny. Your road did go that way.
I know. After you did yours, I went, oh, my road's going the wrong way.
Here I am drawn on. Okay, let me just do this again. I keep forgetting to add a second layer. So yeah, so bring this up into that neck of the woods.
Okay.
That is a terribly drawn tree.
I'm just having trouble with my colors bleeding today. I don't know what the
Well, they
heck I'm.
don't look that bad actually, and it's still a really, like all your greens and yellows and stuff. Still that kind of initial, really light wash. So that's okay. Yeah. So then just kind of bring that across there, and this.
So would it be the bottom of the top of the bush at the bottom of the pine tree? Or am I doing pine tree?
Well, this is all going to be dark. Just make
Okay, like the bush. Not the bush, but the yeah.
background. So this is all going to be darks. So
Okay.
the purples and the blues and the greens, whatever you want. And then over here, kind of break up because you have just kind of a nice little round. So pull some of this maybe in and break that shape up. That was terrible on my part.
Okay.
And then bring these darks down in there like that to finish them off.
Okay.
Just to, and I think that'll kind of help out a little bit. In fact, what I might do, I might not take that quite so high because, well, actually I would. So what I just did, let's undo, oops.
Okay.
In fact, I might actually bring that up just a little bit higher so that you have kind of, and I might even bring this up into there a little bit.
I'm sorry, where are you pointing?
Over here in the left.
Oh, okay.
Bring that up just a little bit more. But then you have kind of a little bit more of an undulating, shape. Well, it's going to come up, then it's going to come way up, then it's going to come down. And this is going to be a lot sharper. These are kind of softer shapes. And you have this nice sharp kind of vertical shape. And then you'll kind of come along here a little bit lower. And then you're going to come up a little bit higher and drop down just a bit, but not as low as this, and come across there. And is that a second tree that you sort of started right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can either, you can either just kind of bring the point up a little bit more,
Okay.
or not worry about it at all. But I do, because odds are it's going to end up out of it. I mean, I kind of like that it was there, but it'll probably end up being matted out of this anyway. But the fact that it's there is kind of nice. So,
Okay.
yeah, but really that's all it is. Just pull some of these purples and this, other color that you got going in there. What is that? Like a peacock blue or something, turquoisey thing.
Where are you at?
Over here in this section.
Oh, okay. That
And-
was some hooker's green and some blue, maybe
Yeah.
peacock blue, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So yeah, a little bit of that's kind of nice. Bring that back over here. Maybe some of this here that you've got, that nice violet that you've got. That could even, you could even bring a little of that over here. But I think that'll help.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is with this dark that is all black on my part, kind of mix
Uh-huh.
up that going here because these are really
Right.
nice.
So the one on the left where it's kind of the green lighter, you want it darker, right? Is that
Yeah.
what you were saying
No,
right
no,
there?
no. I'm just saying this is a really nice color.
Oh,
And this is a really nice color. So take
oh,
some of that and some of that and put it over here where I've got all this dark.
I gotcha. I
Mix
gotcha.
it up a little bit. Don't just do, because you've got a really dark green here. You've got blue, you've
Uh-huh.
got a real dark purpley color. Take some of this and some of that too and stick it over in here.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. Sorry, that was not.
Okay.
And
Thank
then-
you.
Then, next week we'll add that kind of dark shape up in here and kind of
Mhm.
fiddle with this kind of some darks in here to kind of
Okay.
separate the two sides of the road as well.
All right.
Cool.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, do you want to do mine?
Sure.
All right, let's see.
Can you pull it back away from the camera a little bit?
Yep,
Right. Okay. Right there is good. Just hold it steady. And we'll just got it. Can you guys hear the little camera sound it makes when I push
Yep.
the button? Or is that just I just was curious.
oh, I hear it.
Yeah, I just was curious if you heard it when okay. What am I trying to do? Trying to screen share. That's what the button I'm looking for. It makes the little camera sound makes me laugh. I was just curious. I think this is looking really nice, Kathy.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to add, right now it's actually pretty close to, we're going to go in and add more darks to some spots. And then we'll lift out some lights and things to kind of break up these shapes a little bit more. And we're going to add, these darks up in here. But I think you're looking pretty good.
My tree over to the left is kind of leaning a little bit.
This one,
Yeah.
that's okay. Cause what will happen is, a lot of it might get lost in the darks here. So it looks like it's going up. Like we'll probably end up adding some darker darks kind of in some of this area. I'm not doing a very good job, but we'll be adding some even darker darks, so it won't look quite as leany. But even if it's,
Okay.
it just means it's poking its head out. It's kind of poking its head out to try and catch the light. Trees do that, so they tend to. So that's okay. That's leaning a little bit. I realized I didn't add the.
You don't notice those things until you look at it like this.
What you could do if it's bugging you a little bit is just pull this edge out a little bit more. Is this tree taped off or anything? Right here?
Yes,
It
but
is?
I can, it's, whatever you call it. The masking, not masking tape, but
masking
the
fluid?
others, to just rub it out.
The masking fluid?
Yes,
So don't worry about it right now. But when we get to where we're pulling that off, you can go back in and add a little bit of tree in front of that tree, a little bit of this pine tree in front of that tree, and it'll push this tree forward. And for that matter, these two trees forward, and it'll push that one back.
okay,
But since it's masked off, don't worry about doing it right now. We'll add it, when we get to that point where we're painting those trunks.
okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's looking pretty good. I don't really see a whole lot of.
Kathy,
Uh-huh,
the dog tail in the back looks really good.
say it again, because,
In the back, it looks like a volcano.
oh, yeah. That was purposely done.
Well, right. Is that everybody? Have we looked at everybody's? Have we looked at everybody's? Who have it? Tommy, we haven't looked at yours. Let me. There we go. All right. Let me.
Hold on.
I was like, I know we're missing somebody. There we go. Let's. Okay.
It looks way good.
Yeah, that's looking real nice.
I like it. I liked yours too, Kathy.
Okay, you
Sorry.
Thank you.
can set it down now. That one. Whoops, there it goes. Yeah, I think that's looking really nice. Really nice. I like all these that you added. You decided to add all these little trees over here. I like that. I may steal that idea. Because I was kind of thinking it needed a few more things in there. So I really like that you did that. I think I might. Whoa, sorry, that keeps moving on me. I might pull some of these lighter, greens and stuff. I might go ahead and even pull. No, let me see if I can. If I can do this right. Unless you want to, actually paint up and do a little sky up there. I would pull. It's a little hard. Is there yellow up in this area, or is it?
There's nothing.
Oh, there's nothing up there. Okay. Yeah, it was a little hard to tell. I would go ahead and I'm going to use whatever this light green is, but I would go ahead and kind of pull some lighter yellowy colors up in there as well. And then even over in here, we will end up adding a bit of, some dark in here, but I think you can get pretty close to, filling all this in with, and it's just a light color. I'm just using this yellow green because I sampled it from your painting. But, I might pull those over, all up into here. Because we are going to come in with, with a dark kind of up in here.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to come all the way out to kind of where I'm drawing a line. Just pull a little bit more yellowy orange and stuff up in there. Particularly around here where you're going to want like a fair amount of really bright right here, because that's going to kind of lead us into, this contrast is going to be what's kind of leading you around, you know, this direction, and then back to here. That'll lead you down to there and back around like that.
Okay.
So even this could come up, you know, into here a little bit more too, if you wanted to. However, you've got that kind of, because what'll happen is we'll go back in and lift out. I'm pointing with my finger so you can't see what I'm doing. We'll go back in here and lift out some trunk shapes from this dark. So it's okay if this is, you know, a larger shape, because we will end up breaking it up by lifting some back out.
Okay.
But I think this is looking phenomenal. I particularly like these shapes you've got going over here. These are really nice. That's really quite lovely.
Well, thanks.
If I hadn't drawn all over it with these stupid arrows. Yeah, that's a really nice bit right there in particular. But the whole thing is looking really good.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, I guess that's everybody. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Jeannie. Oh wait,
Michael,
Jeannie's here.
Michael,
You did. You did.
I just got on now. I had to attend a celebration of life tonight.
Oh,
And so anyway, yeah, so I'm just getting home and I just got you on Zoom now. Did you record this session?
I did.
Great. Oh, I was hoping you would.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. I'll
Yeah.
get it done.
And I'm having a little bit of difficulty with last week's, but I should have it uploaded, and then I'll try and get this one uploaded at the same time. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll wait a couple days then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I did not want to miss class, but I felt obligated to go to that.
Oh no, yeah. You've got to go. You've got to go to those kinds of things. So.
Right. Okay. But I'll be back next Tuesday night.
Okay, sounds
you.
good.
And I'll be caught up.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Good night.
Good night. We'll and I guess everybody else have a great week, and
Okay. You too, Michael.
we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll see you next week.
Have a good week, everybody.
Good night, cowboy. I always feel like I should say that.